Hi, my name is Priscilla Aleman, and I'm a 2009 Young Arts winner in the Visual Arts, U.S. Presidential Scholar in the Arts, and the 2023 Young Arts Baxter St Resident Recipient. In the field of ancient stars is a new body of work that originates from an old body of work of sculptures, but being able to utilize photography as a way to create these portals to these memories of when I made these sculptures or installations or moments in time that felt like a state of being. I've always worked with photography and documenting these sculptures that I would have in my studio or bring out into the world where I think they really come to life for me. In sculpture, I found it so magical to be able to use materials that were inanimate and make it feel real or alive or human. I think the photography has always freed me to be able to capture a world in which I think they exist in and transport that image. That moment in time is distilled, like a resin casting of sorts or an amber. And then in this space, be able to bring them to life through adding or garnishing them with these elements that are like offerings, like seashells or turquoise beads or volcanic rocks. I do see them very much as a sculpture too. Working in archaeology, I always am so drawn and inspired and touched by it, but also feeling like trying to resolve how do I handle this sensitive material with care. That there's this sort of romantic nature that I have with archaeology, that's not just like digging and trudging and throwing it into a museum, but that there's this searching and longing and wanting to connect and understand through fragments. So I recreated this one particular body that was named Otzi, or also known as the Iceman. And he was rediscovered in 1991 in the Swiss Alps. They found out he was a couple thousand years predating Egyptians, and I ended up personifying this figure with my own features, my hands, face, and feet. And I found my way to the basketball court, where I always found it as a field of empowerment or liberation. I laid the body right on the free throw line, and it transformed the field into something celestial and cosmic and reflected the sky it was under. I really loved how I was encouraged into a new direction of heightening the photographic element of my practice. I felt like I was given a huge freedom to build a whole new body of work through the support and resources that the programs provided. So these National Geographic magazines, I like thinking about each one as me having a different relationship with them, that there's not one answer, which makes it alive for me. Much of the time it's intuitive of just giving them different offerings. Like, here's a piece of papaya skin that I had for breakfast that I grated it with my teeth and it felt immediately like wild. I'm like, oh yeah, like, this animalistic part of me, but I loved the lines that it left on the skin and this beautiful coloration between like the bright green and the orange, and that the food also just feeds my eyes and my senses. I like playing with this spectrum of interpretation. So these are elements that end up becoming part of these resin casted, I like thinking of them as fossils actually, or like ambers. They're distilled readings or daydreams, almost like this sketchbook. A private moment, but at the same time can travel with me. They're my thoughtscapes. I really love this notion of stars being both old and new. That they're born and they die, but they're infinite, that everything's made of stardust and always rearticulates and reconfigures in new ways. And through research that I've done in archaeology about sports, it goes back 3,000 years, and it's all very, at the root of it, cosmic, just trying to understand of the origin of the universe and where we come from or how it all comes together and how we move within it. And also in thinking about like the origin of the ball itself in the sports, with the Olmecs, they would leach the sap from the tree and collect that latex and form it into this object to play the game. And so I love how these objects do come from trees or from something out there. I see them as these relics or objects that are meant to be activated in art. I love playing with the word field and how that could connect to so many different interests and ways of understanding I have. That it's an open space and it's a space for pure potential. I love that idea about stars, it's all potential energies, light and matter, and this is my own unique way of trying to map it. I'd love to thank YoungArts and Baxter Street Camera Club for being part of this new evolution. Yes, and resources, but also encouragement. That's huge, to have been connected with mentors that are my rock stars and see that it's possible. You just have to feel it first. My grandfather has this saying that I grew up with. It was the first English that he taught himself, and he said, when there's a will, there's a way. I just think these organizations are echoing that, that if you have an idea, if you have a dream, here's a map. So, yeah.